Today, Becomingamanc, Jonas Schofield, great tour guide, good friend of mine. Enjoy the episodes. Okay, Becomingamanc. Here we go. That's our podcast.
Technically, I'm not, but there you go.
Yeah, I'm technically not, but
I'm a bit closer than you, though. I think Rochdale's closer than Naples to Manchester.
I'm sure it is. but my question is, I'm born in Italy and I'm made in Manchester.
Yeah.
You're born in Rochdale, like you said.
Yeah, absolutely.
How long have you been in Manchester?
Well, I think my dad hated it in 1974 when the boundaries changed and Rochdale became part of Greater Manchester rather than Lancashire. He hated that. But we all knew Manchester was the centre, I've got my dad's old membership card for the Royal Exchange in Manchester. He's dead now, from 1962.
Wow.
So, you could say he wasn't, but he really was. The whole business was sort of based within the centre before we went bankrupt in 1946, which was slightly too soon for me. And so you always identified with Manchester, don't you? When you're growing up in a place like Rochdale, we normally had a little team and a big team. A little team would be Rochdale. I support United, others would support City as our big team. Some of my best mates were total traitors and supported Liverpool, which is out of the region. How dare they? More or less out of the region. So yeah, Manchester was always the centre point. You go away, you live in Cardiff University, living in Madrid, came back and I came back to Manchester. Now I've been working, for 88, whatever that is.
And then say you made in Manchester as well, and I think you made a lot of us as well. Once I remember your time in Confidential.
Yeah.
So you done a lot of reviews. You done a lot hating and loving.
Yeah. Well, I think what's been a quality of the city when it's been at its strongest is that it's not just everything's brilliant. It's not. So therefore, you have to have a critical faculty about that. So when I came back, I did bookshop management. Then got involved with City Life and started doing guidebooks about the city, and then you start doing food reviews, but also other reviews, art shows, all the rest of it. And I think it's just pointless if, like much of the media in Manchester it's just everything's sunny and isn't it wonderful? Oh, and this new place has opened, and you think it's just shit. Why are you praising it like that? Don't do it. So I think you have to have that degree of honesty about your writing and your approach to your work, whether it's the guiding side or the tourism side, or whether it's the writing side.
You know what? I totally understand with you because, like everybody knows, I own a restaurant as well, and then every week we see a new one, or every week we see somebody copy somebody else, and it's like we fighting between each other. The city is big enough.
Yeah,
we got enough critic, food critic. We got bloggers. We got everything there. And they can decide who's good, who's bad, and they make. I think they make a future in sense of what they're writing, or where you open, or whatever you do.
Well, I think that can happen. I think it's less likely these days because there's so much of a massive. Yeah, if it's J Rain or a big national one, that's a different thing. But I think locally it's got harder because in any city, you've got a million social media bits. So older folk might want to read a full review and younger folk might want to see a 2.5 second TikTok thing. So it's very hard to judge now. I think when you first started, which was 2007-8, was it? Something like that? No.
About 13 years ago, I think, yeah.
So 10. Yeah. So I've been at Confidential for 2 years, I think, as the editor. And it was just a breath of fresh air to... I wonder what it was to begin with in the Corn Exchange, because you call it a mozzarella bar. I was thinking, how do you put a mozzarella in a drink?
Yeah, well, what it was a new concept, was something like mozzarella. We all had a mozzarella Galbani from Tesco, from Asda, from Max, or whatever. People do the shopping, and it was very rubbery, it was very... you could quick walk like that. That's not mozzarella. That's not what we eat in Naples. So, come from Naples, mozzarella for us is the basic of mozzarella tomatoes, basic of our cuisine, our recipe. So we eat that almost every day. It's fresh, nice. It doesn't cost too much in Italy, so you fill you up, and then it's good product. It feels good. But that time nobody done it before. So I came with the mozzarella, and then I remember you came to the restaurant, and then the 4 words was Yaffe. When, you know, as my first review goes, Yaffe, and then the only guy I could see was the F for what the fuck, you know what I mean?
No. Well, it was. I think Margana came up with it first. The Confidentials, because it just so happened at the time. Actually, it was a very funny time. So it was yet another fucking Italian. Yaffe.
So I was a bit like, there we go.
I'll tell you what was really funny about that. Well, no, back to your place. As a kid, I was obsessed, bizarrely, with football, so I played it, but also with Romans and Renaissance art. And where is the best place for Romans and Renaissance art in the world? It's Italy, obviously. Started there. So I travelled it was supposed to be just for a month, and I'd go somewhere else, but in the end, I went from the north right to Sicily. And it was months. I was months there. And I remember what was different was that quality of the raw material. So it wasn't exactly, as you say, a Tesco Parmesan or a Tesco mozzarella. And so when I went into your place, it almost bubbled back all those memories from what must have been about
it was original,
15 years ago, before that, you know. And it felt fresh, and I could feel all the sunshine upon me almost. And I liked that. And it seemed that it wasn't a Yaffe. It did seem to be run by an Italian who cared. And so that was the point of differentiation. That's why I wrote you a nice review.
Yeah, because I think, you know, I've been in England, I've been in Manchester for about 31 years now. And then I've seen the changing of the restaurant, changing of the menus, the changing of the decor, changing of the structure, everything. And then I remember first restaurant I walked, I remember on the menu was egg and prawns, was a prawn cocktail, was barbecue sauce,
ribs, bloody lasagna, that radioactive dish.
Exactly. So, but you know what? But the lasagna, I got a good story about the lasagna. I used to work just outside Manchester in a restaurant, and then that time I was the manager of that restaurant, and I had an old man, but I can't remember his name now. Anyway, I used to work for the Midland, and then used to come do part-time in the restaurant where I used to work. And one night, I go to the pass, I get the lasagna, hot, bloody lasagna like that. I got the plate, I turn around, the lasagna just flew on his belly, and then he went between his white shirt, between his belt and his trousers, all the hot. Honest, that time was about 60-something, very skinny, you know, I don't want to say old, but you know what I mean? He was like, compared to us, we were only 20 years old, and he started to jump in the restaurant, take his clothes off.
Well, I don't blame him. It's like,
honestly, it was so funny that
from Pompeii, it's like Vesuvian lava being thrown at you, that isn't it?
Yeah, maybe that's why I haven't got lasagna on my menu, because I always remember that poor man. I killed him, you know, for 1 hour. I was like burning
himself.
I know he was, and you know, from that time I said that I won't touch any more plates. I'm just gonna take orders and then run the show. So
can I tell you my favourite Yaffe story?
Tell me.
So it was when Jamie Oliver was opening his Jamie's Italian restaurant in the magnificent old Midland Manc.
I remember that day.
Which has now got a lucky cat in it. Anyway, so I can't remember when it opened, maybe about September or July or something, later on in the year anyway. And on April Fool's Day that year, we did a big headline that council bans all future Italian restaurants because we got too many of them. And there was this big article that we put fake, you know, and we said, councillor so-and-so says, no, we've had enough now, there's just too many, come on. And the PR woman from Jamie's rang up and said, is this true? And it's deadpan. They went, of course it's true, yeah. An exclusive story we got from Manchester Confidential. She said, well, we're spending millions on it. You can't ban Italian restaurants. I said, well, it's about time, really. There's too many. And she said, I want to ring somebody. Who shall I ring? So I said, ring the councillor in the article. She said, what's the number? And I just made a number up, like 01612456262. And about 10 minutes later, she rang back and said, I've been an idiot, haven't I? Because you know what the councillor was called? It was Councillor D.O.L.Mio.
Dolmio.
I tried to ring up a councillor, Councillor Dolmio. So yeah, I mean that was the funniest manifestation.
I remember when they opened, and it was this big thing that Jamie come to Manchester. And then I don't know what happened after that, but
Well, I think when you went into Jamie's, seems a bit cruel knocking it now, but you were overwhelmed with the amount of merchandise that you could buy. Those massive pizza platter things that look like the biggest table tennis bat ever. And she's like, stop the memorabilia, would you? And it's a bit like that with Lucky Cat. But
you know what I noticed in Manchester is like as a community. That's why I said I made in Manchester, because I'm part of this Mancunian way to live, Mancunian thinking, and people respect you for what you've done and things like that. And what I see is many brands come from London, just from outside Manchester, and they only last a year, 2 years, and they're going. Not many brands they come from outside. Names, big names.
We could reel them off, couldn't you? Jamie Oliver, Raymond Blanc. There's loads of them just over the last 20, 30 years. They've all come.
They come and go. And they're gone. And
Michael Pierre White.
Yeah, and I think the proper man, they stay,
Yeah. Well, that's true. But Michael Pierre White, I remember when he opened his River restaurant at the Lowry Hotel. And he was supposed to be Michael Pierre White. And it's before he just completely franchised himself. And anyway, he was doing all the tables, smooching around all the tables on the opening night. And then he sort of like strode off and then came striding back again because he thought he'd walked into the kitchens, but he just walked into the loos. He didn't know where the kitchen was. And it was branded under his name. Michael Pierre White. But you're right. I think there is that sensibility, should we call it that, about the city where those who keep at it, but deliver quality, by the way. I think that's important. It has to be that as well. Yeah, I think you're still here.
Manchester people, us foreign in Manchester, and then we done something, it could be restaurant, it could be
digital software,
whatever. I think maybe because we know what Manchester is all about, so we push a little bit more, we make good for Manchester people as well, instead of just coming with the big brand, come in, put the money on the table, open this fancy restaurant or whatever it is, and then 2 years later go, it doesn't work here.
But also it's the character of the owner, I think. When you see some of the restaurants that have survived and done well, it's not only because, if it's like yourself, you're prepared to talk to the customers and you listen to them, maybe. Talk to the customers. And I think within smaller, you're not even a chain really, what, 3 is it? Is it 3? Yeah. Outlets, then the owner or chef proprietor, if it's a chef proprietor, has to be there. I quite like for fine dining, Adam Reed in the Midland Hotel in the French, because he comes out and chats to everyone, he has a good laugh. And there's other ones, shall we say, in fine dining level in this region that don't do that. So you have to work hard at that customer point, but I still think you have to be good as well. So it's not just.
I think the way I see, I'm very chatting. I like to talk to people. I know a lot of people, and then some of the people I know in this industry, but in my industry, they're be shy. They don't really like to be on front. So that's why sometimes they don't go out and talk to customers and they try to do everything on the media. They try to do everything, get good, top guy manager where he wears this suit and he thinks it's the business. So they push them at the front instead of they going. Fortunately for me, I'm not like that. So, I can talk to people. I can engage with people, and then you got to have some stories as well, because some people, I'll live my life I try to the extreme. So I got a lot of things to say. A lot of things
about
to do.
breaking your ribs in Africa on a motorbike?
Yes, just come back from Africa on a motorbike trip. Exactly, yeah. So but it's it's a story. It's good to talk and it's good to share to customer. And then what I say, people, they're interested in your life as well. They're not just interested in your food or your restaurant or whatever you do. They want to know you as a person. Like I want to know you as a Jonathan Schofield. When you do your tour, we present the people food, we present the people the joy to to go out, but you the one that tell everybody come from outside how good Manchester is and how Manchester
Well, it's a nice
was.
analogy. It's customer service. It's performative in a way, isn't it? The thing about the tourism side of the business is, again, what you try and do is paint a real picture of it. But of course, you're trying to tell the story of the city whilst you're doing it. And by the way, good grief, as a registered tour guide of Britain, I certainly just... There was a book that called me, Stuart McConey's book, Paris and Prejudice. He called me, when I took around, he called me a radical historian. I thought, what the hell's that? But it's a nice bit in a speech now, and any speech I can say, Stuart McConey called me a radical historian, which is true, because I don't like to talk about the past. But I do like to talk about the past. But it's also now and the future that you've got to know. Same in your business in a way, you've got to predict things, haven't you? So when you're doing that and presenting it to tourism, then it is about, context, now, and what might happen. It's not just about talking about old stuff as well. Otherwise, you know what, that's why you'd prefer to guide Manchester than you would, say, Chester or York in a way, which have obviously presence and future, but they're not as dynamic, So this is a great city for that. So Manchester certainly made me professionally, but then again, I wasn't very far away. I'm intrigued as to, that journey of yours. I mean, what would happen if you'd stayed in Naples and Pompeii? What would you be doing apart from down mountains and mountain bikes?
I don't know, maybe I had 4 kids. You know what I mean? I had 4 kids, sit at home, do a normal job, 9 to 5, or maybe just work in a restaurant as a waiter, as a chef, whatever, and I don't know, just plodding along with life. I think when I came to Manchester, it probably gave me, I always been, not different, because I'm not different, but the way I was thinking then, I was already 20 years in front of, where I'm coming from.
And what about your peer group? What about your friends back in?
The people stayed in Naples. People stayed in Italy. They just got a job. They just walk in. They're happy. They got families and they got whatever they want. I don't know. Maybe what I think sometimes I'm going to be over the top. And as I see with my family as well, I came in England with nothing. I'm sure I said this story many times. But you know what? It's not everything about money. It's about making. It's about now sit here talking to you, 31 years later. That's what I wanted. I want to know. People know my story. People know what I've done for Manchester. Why did I came to Manchester? Why I'm still here? I'm stuck. By the way, we've got restaurants. I
can't go anywhere else.
I can't really go anywhere. Maybe it would be nice in the sunshine and. But
I remember when we were in Italy once. There is that. There did seem a definite. And I think we mentioned it the other day, where the restaurant in your district, or even in the centre, maybe in Naples, is very much more of a family thing rather than it's Tuesday. I feel like having a meal. Come on, with your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. You can go, let's go out and have a meal. It seemed less like that.
Yes, it's less like that because they spend more time around the table. Okay, we don't do that here. Every time I come back home, my mom always says, "Oh, Mom, I'm coming," and she goes, "Okay, what do you want? Meatballs? What do you want? Parmesan?" You know what I mean? And she wants us around the table. When my mom comes here, "Oh, Mom, is this new restaurant? Oh, Mom, let's go in the restaurant. You know what I mean? It's different. So the mentality for them, eating mentality, is around the table as a family. For us, is going out, and have a good night instead of. Just a family or friends or whatever, talk about what we've been doing and things like that. To be honest, nothing to do with the restaurant or whatever, but we, how replicate that as, I got a group of like 10 friends, and then once a month we sit down, and then we just talk. Have some food, we just talk about what we've been doing, family, business, or whatever it is, and then it's good to have that sit down instead of going to club, having drinks and listen to music or whatever, because you don't really talk, and then you don't, you think you know your friends, But you only know your friends when you're in a club or in a restaurant. You need to know your friends when you're out.
Especially, okay, so I'd imagine because you work long hours.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, so my friend, most of my friends, they live outside Manchester, and they call me, okay, well, you want me to book? They go, no, we go to your restaurant. I go, come on, let's go somewhere else. They go, no, we like your restaurant, so always handing up.
It's the same with me, because when I've got friends coming in, our family coming in, they'll say, right, let's go out for a meal, all right, okay, where are we going? I'll say, listen, you choose. Yeah, I know my stuff, but why can't you be asked finding somewhere? Why is it always down to me? Because I'm the tour guide and the writer about this information. You find someone. Let's see if it's any good if you find someone. Here's that idea of it's a busman's holiday all the time, isn't it? Where can we go today, Jonathan? That's new. I just want a day off, Just want a day
off. I get that question all the time. Which one is, which restaurant you prefer in Manchester? Where you like to go out? And I always say the same thing, like, when I go out, it's about my family. It's not about what I eat, the place. Because for me, be the only time I can really sit down and spend time with them. So, for you it might be different, but, because I'm always moving, and, you do the same, you're very busy like me.
But because it is like that, I tend to, obviously you get older now, I'm in my late 50s, so what you do is you go out and you will have a chat, and one of my bugbears, which I've said before to you many times, in fact we did an article with it, where you were testing the sound, because sometimes when you go to some of the new ones, which are good, really good food, by the time it gets to 7 o'clock on a Saturday night, you can't talk to somebody there. And before anybody says, you old bugger, I've been saying that since I was 21 years of age. If I go out for a meal, I want to chat with someone. Yes. And same in an old pub, maybe. Bar, club, different. You know what you're going to expect, that it's going to be loud. But I don't know how long I'm going to talk about this, but talk today. But the thing is trends as well, isn't it? It's funny, the amount of trends that have happened whilst you've been in that restaurant. Can you remember the endless burgers and ribs?
Yeah.
That's for 3 years.
But remember, all the burgers coming in, all the pizzas coming in. Now is a sushi trend.
Oh God!
And every couple of years is something. Yeah. We got to follow. We got to we got to try. We got to be in.
Yeah, I'm going to put it to you. There's one trend that's never gone away. Even the Indian restaurants, they sort of faded for a bit, coming back again now. But for about 5 years, they weren't up there, anymore. But no, there's never been a time where the Italian's been out of fashion.
No.
There was a Spanish fashion as well, remember?
It was Spanish. Yeah.
And that bit of Deansgate became Little Spain.
Yeah, everything was Spanish. All these tapas, things like that.
And El Gato Negro and all that. Yeah. But but why is that permanence?
Well, it's because it's easy to eat. It's comfy food. It's not over expensive. But I think the only thing it's never gone out of fashion. It's changed a lot from 30 years to now. The quality, I think, has gone much better. But we need to keep on top, because I know everybody is Italian, but it's a lot to rubbish Italian as well. And then we don't want that. We just want good Italian. So, when I arrived in England, somebody said to me, listen, you just arrived, you've been here a long time. Okay, make sure you don't mess around. Okay, that's what they told me when I came to the UK, and then I always got that phrase in my mind. So everything I do, I try to do good. I make a mistake as well. We got a lot of reviews as well. Many they're good.
So the big mistake you make is offering me limoncello after any meal.
There we go.
Yeah, that's honestly.
But you know why? Because every time you go to the restaurant, I always think it's a review. So for me, it's got to be. I give you limoncello, you might forget about what you had before. So,
And then Grappa can lose it.
Grappa next time.
So, for the future, you're not going away, are you?
No, I'm not going anywhere for another few years at least. I'm not going anywhere. My future is going to be Manchester anyway.
Well, that's an interesting one to finish on in a way, because both our jobs we enjoy, usually. Obviously, when you've got two chefs down and you're cooking behind there and everything else. Maybe that's not so enjoyable. But it is, all the jobs I do, I tend to enjoy. I mean, I bloody hate writing. I'd rather do anything than writing. But when I finish the writing, I've really enjoyed the writing. It's just getting to do the writing that you hate. You know, you'll do anything. You make the 37th cup of tea to avoid starting up. But once you start, you're normally okay. But the tour guide is just a pleasure. You've got people in front of him. You're entertaining them. It's absolutely amazing. So there's no real necessity for a cut-off point of retirement. You know, there's no real necessity of that.
No.
But you obviously, it's different because you've got a full business. I'm a sole trader. That's
Yeah, I don't really think to retire at all. I think I always gonna work till the last day. But what I'm thinking now is to slow down. Yeah. I don't know why. Maybe getting old. But when people go, "Oh, come on,
slow down in the restaurant," slow down in the restaurant rather than going across the deck.
Yeah, slow down in the restaurant and go fast on a bike.
Yeah. There we go.
I think that's gonna be my thing for the future. I put a lot of things on hold all these years because I had to build everything around me. So I think now I've got comfy life, and then I can do things. My wife's gonna hate that.
Yeah, there's that. I can see that documentary of you and two other chefs. Yeah. Probably going across the desert, cooking things on fuel tanks.
You know what? I did a trial when I was there a couple of weeks ago.
Bloody Gino de Campos on again.
Yeah, but unfortunately for me, was nothing around for miles.
Yeah,
and we only had 2 bags. So, we've been out 14 days. I had 1 pair of trousers, 1 t-shirt, 1 pair of shoes, and then I had, of course, motorbike gear, but that's it. And then every time, night time we got to the hotel, we had to wash things and put it back on the day after. I was like, that's no, you know what I mean? The other people I said, "Oh, come on, you mourn all the time." I said, "I don't mourn. I want my comfort. I want my stuff."
Yes.
And then Nicola, one of the guys, was, he organized the trip. So we went from Manchester to his house in near Turin. I got like a bag, a suitcase, and he goes, "Why are you going there?" I said, "Nothing. Tell me why you're going there." So he opened that, and he said, "That's what you're taking, that's what you're not taking, that's what you leave here." And I was like, "Nico, I can't go to Africa, 14 days." And he said, "Listen, you don't need anything. Nothing. That's all you need. That's all you're going to take." Even like, I bought, rucksack and everything. He said, "That's good, that's bad, that's good, that's bad." I had to leave everything behind. You know what I mean? But when I come back, and he said, "What did I tell you?"
Yeah.
I mean, so you do need all this stuff. I said, "No, you were right." And then we had to ride
yourself into a 5-star hotel and buy a new suit. And
yes, and then the worst thing was we had to share a room, and I was like, "I'm not sharing in a room. Like, we share a room, And then the first thing he said, "Are you snoring?" I said, "No, I don't know, but I don't snore." And then 3 nights later, we were knackered anyway. I go, we shared the room, and then he goes, "You don't sleep with me again because you bloody snore all bloody night." And I was like, "What?" I don't know, And so the night after, I had to move with somebody snoring. And I was like, "It looks like you're going back to school."
Yeah.
I mean, so that, and then the room was like 30 euros a night, something like that. I said, "Listen, I can't afford 10 rooms."
Yeah.
He said, "No, you sleep, you got to share. When you're here, you got to share with those." I said, "Okay." So, I did enjoy, yeah, exactly. So, that was
good. No, I prefer a bit of comfort, so I'll stick.
But yeah, so when they come back in Manchester was, was good experience, was good thing to. The only thing is bad is the weather, isn't it?
Yeah.
But part of that, I know you used to.
It's just blooming weather,
but
yeah.
But we love Manchester.
Bored of endless sunshine.
It must be so difficult for you because you review so many restaurants. And I understand, the good and bad, the things like that, but to explain why that restaurant is not up standard or why it's too much or why it's not enough for...
It's not as hard as that. You think... I mean, the worst thing is trying to make sentences when the food's so dull. It's just the worst thing. But I think most restaurants are always made of the 3 things, and that's what we put in the marking. They are made of the food, obviously. But then it's the service and it's the atmosphere. Now, you can have 4 people in a restaurant. It's a good atmosphere if it's the right type of restaurant. And that's why when we use our scores, we're only going to mark a pizzeria against a pizzeria, a fine dining against a fine dining, a burger shop against a burger shop. You can't mark the burger place against the fine dining, otherwise.
No, of course not. Yeah, it'd be chaos. But boy, I remember every review I seen you wrote, and then the way I see it was like, shit. He's on again. What is he going to say about this restaurant now? And then I was interesting to see. And then maybe I haven't been, or I've been, and then when I come back then I remember your review, and then I was like, bloody hell, that's spot on.
Do you know what the weirdest thing was? When early Confidential and before that, City Life, I had these two groupie women who came on my tour, and they'd literally buy the same courses that I had in the restaurant, and then contact me with their review of what I reviewed, saying, no, we agreed on this one, we didn't agree they didn't like this, but I thought it was a bit too sweet, the pudding, and you should have mentioned that. I'm going, what the hell?
So, after all this, what do you think is believed to become a Manchester?
A Mancunian. I always find this a funny one. When I do my music tours with other guides, and you buy the Kimpton Clock Tower Hotel as it was, and you look down Oxford Street, Oxford Road, and you say, often people forget we are the city of 25 Nobel Prize winners that would make us seventh in the nations of the world. But they always remember that Bez comes from Manchester. So I think that is Manchester. I think it is the whole spread from the proper lad, right through to being clever, sophisticated, go again. I think the one thing that you have to do, I think certainly within the business of the city or working here, I think you have to be entrepreneurial and creative. And I think once you're those two things, then I think a lot of the city really likes you and admires you and will get behind you. And also never use any snobbery, because that's the thing that will get you absolutely nowhere in this city.
100%. I 100% agree with what you said, because I was thinking the same 30 years ago when I said I'm gonna stay in Manchester and I'm gonna make it, and I was thinking like I can make it because I've got all the creativity, I've got everything, and then Manchester, it will give me that. So what you just said just confirmed my theory 30 years ago.
I mean, it's been called the least aristocratic city in the UK, and I think if you try any of that on, it's gonna fail. I think almost you can push it to certain boundaries when people get too full of themselves with money and want to show off because they've got a lot of money, and most Mancs will go, or Mancunians like me will go, oh yes, get lost. All right, you're flashing some cash around. Who cares?
Exactly.
We want genuineness.
Yeah, and then Manchester give you that. I think that's right. Towards they're very genuine. They're very friendly. They want to be part of you as well. They don't just want to be your friend because you got money and things like that. So that's good.
I think that's good.
Nice. Yeah. So
well, thanks very much.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Thank you.